Hello, and welcome to Sallie and Nadine Woods, the fight against muscular dystrophy in Southeast Texas. In this presentation, I will relate the story of sisters Sallie and Nadine Woods of Liberty, Texas, and the organization they chartered to fund research into and promote education about muscular dystrophy. Muscular dystrophy is the term given to a group of diseases characterized by the progressive weakening and degeneration of muscles, rendering them useless. It is incurable and often fatal. I will be using material from the Sam Houston Center's collections, including the Sallie and Nadine Woods collection, the Pickett and Pickett Law Office papers, U.S. Senator Price Daniel papers, and the Sam Houston Center's newspaper archives. Sallie B. Woods was born on July 17, 1920, and Nadine Woods was born on May 1, 1925, in Liberty, Texas, daughters of William Terry Woods Sr. and Gertrude LaCour Woods. Sallie and Nadine were both diagnosed with muscular dystrophy in 1944 at the University of Texas Medical Branch in Galveston, although they had exhibited symptoms of the disease since they were children. They fell frequently, and when they fell, could not get up unassisted. Standing up from a sitting position and even just walking was difficult. Their older sister, Thelma Dell, was born in 1913, had been diagnosed with MD as a child. She was in a wheelchair by the age of about 13 or 14 and consequently had to withdraw from school. Dell succumbed to the disease in 1957 at the age of 44. With assistance from friends and family members who walked with them and carried their books, Nadine and Sallie were fortunately able to complete their schooling and graduate high school. Nadine briefly attended Texas State College for Women, now Texas Woman's University, but after 9 months was, quote, a nervous wreck physically and mentally, unquote, as Sallie described it. Walking to classes and climbing stairs was too much for her, and she could not carry the heavy books. When they were diagnosed, Sallie and Nadine were told by the doctor to, quote, go home and forget about it, unquote, because MD was a fatal disease and there was nothing that could be done for them. Sallie once observed that, quote, we learned two things. For the first time, we knew the name of our disease, and we also realized that our future would be largely left to us to make, unquote. Rather than just forget about it, the sisters sought to learn as much as they could about the disease and any relevant medical research being conducted. To raise money for postage to write letters, they did secretarial work at home. Between 1946 and 1950, they corresponded with various doctors and pharmaceutical companies in the United States. What they learned was that very little was known about MD at that time, and there was limited funding for research. In 1946, the sisters began a regular correspondence with Dr. William P. Boger, Associate Medical Director for Sharp and Dome, Inc., a former pharmaceutical company in Glen Olden, Pennsylvania. Dr. Boger is the gentleman on the right in this photo. While not able to offer them assistance as far as any specific medication or treatment, Dr. Boger took an interest in their situation and asked them to send him information or notes about their own cases to help further understanding of MD. In a November 15, 1948 letter to them, he advised that MD patients should set up some sort of society that you can bolster each other's courage. Nadine replied in her letter of November 24, 1948, that she and Sallie, quote, often dreamed of organizing a society for those with dystrophy, and we're going to attempt putting it over, unquote. A charter for the Muscular Dystrophy Research Foundation was granted by the state of Texas to Sallie and Nadine Woods on March 20th, 1950. The name was soon changed to National Muscular Dystrophy Research Foundation. It was the first organization chartered to fund research into and promote awareness of muscular dystrophy. In its early years, the foundation was headquartered in Liberty, but its offices later were moved to Houston. Board members over the years, in addition to the Wood sisters, included Liberty residents and physicians, prominent Houston area supporters, and a number of nationally known physicians, including Dr. Boger. Dr. Boger was probably the women's most loyal champion and supporter during the foundation's existence and constantly encouraged them in their endeavors. The Wood sisters had briefly corresponded in 1949 to 1950 with Dr. A.T. Millerad in New York, who was conducting MD-related research, and suggested a research foundation to him. Rather than join the Liberty Group, he helped found a separate organization, the Muscular Dystrophy Association, in June 1950. During its early years, it was known as Muscular Dystrophy Associations of America, the MDAA. The MDAA was funded by multiple wealthy donors and was headquartered in New York City. Its initial purpose was to fund Dr. Millerat's MD research, but it soon expanded beyond that and grew quickly into a large, well-funded organization. The Liberty Foundation was outgunned by MDAA in terms of funding and manpower and resisted periodic efforts by the New York organization to merge the Liberty Group into theirs. Nevertheless, during the almost 30 years it was active, the foundation raised significant funds for MD research and patient services and raised awareness about the disease. They accomplished this without a paid staff. The Wood sisters served as the foundation's executive secretaries at no salary and boasted that 90% of donations were allocated to research. The foundation sponsored various types of fundraisers over the years. One of the major ones was silver coffees or silver teas. Individuals or clubs hosted these events in which guests made donations to the foundation. Here you see an invitation to one of those teas. In 1953, the Texas Restaurant Association designated February 26th as Coffee Day, in which TRA member restaurants all over the state donated their coffee receipts for the day to the foundation. At Senator Price Daniels' request, President of the United States, Dwight Eisenhower, donated a monogrammed silver coffee pot to help promote interest in the fundraiser. Liberty's newspaper, the Liberty Vindicator, reported that the City of Liberty restaurants paid out several $100s for the event, and thousands of dollars more arrived from communities all over Texas. That same year, the foundation launched an annual prayer day in which citizens were asked to pray for a cure for MD and for divine guidance for those engaged in medical research. Southeast Texas area fire departments led fund drives for the foundation as well. The MDAA had actor-comedian Jerry Lewis as its celebrity spokesman, but the foundation also enlisted a few celebrities to support its work. Popular husband and wife entertainers Roy Rogers and Dale Evans were longtime major sponsors, as was television host Ed Sullivan, who visited the Wood sisters in Liberty in 1955 while he was in Houston for another event. Actor John Wayne was also enlisted as a supporter. Here we have a personal letter to Sallie and Nadine Woods from Mr. Sullivan written after his visit. Senator and later Governor Price Daniel, a native of Liberty County, whom I've already mentioned, was a sponsor and tireless supporter of the foundation. On its 5th anniversary, Senator Daniel inserted remarks in the Congressional Record honoring the foundation and the Wood sisters. The foundation also had its own poster children. The first was Raymond Waller, a boy from Port Arthur in nearby Jefferson County. By the time he was 18, Raymond was bedridden with MD. He helped lead another major fundraiser for the foundation in 1954. Shortly before his 18th birthday in November, he asked that everyone send 18 cents or $18 to him for the foundation, care of the postmaster in Liberty. Here you see Raymond, Ricky Thies, and brother and sister Ronnie and Linda Lou Bozeman. In 1959, the foundation was looking for a recognizable symbol to promote the organization and its work. Staff of Houston television station KTRK, Channel 13, came up with the idea of a replica of the Liberty Bell as an appropriate symbol, and benefactors of the foundation were enlisted to provide the funds necessary to commission a replica of the original bell. An order was submitted to Whitechapel Bell Foundry in London, England, which had cast the original Liberty Bell in 1752 and still had the mold in which that bell had been cast. This would be the first exact replica of the original Liberty Bell. The bell was shipped to the United States in 1960, arriving at the Port of Houston via Lykes Brothers steamship lines in August, where an unveiling ceremony took place. The photo on the left here was taken at that ceremony. The following month, another ceremony took place in Liberty, in front of the Liberty County Courthouse, in which the bell was dedicated to Sallie and Nadine Woods. Actor John Wayne was given the honor of ringing the bell for the first time. He told it 16 times. Around the same time, the foundation changed its name to Liberty Muscular Dystrophy Research Foundation, and its slogan became Liberty from Dystrophy, with the Liberty Bell as the official symbol. The bell toured the state of Texas in a truck known as the Liberty Liner before returning to Liberty and subsequently being placed in a storage facility in Houston. Originally, the bell was not to be rung again until a cure for muscular dystrophy was found. In July 1971, the Foundation Board of Directors voted to give custody and control of the bell to Sallie and Nadine Woods, as well as the authority to decide on permanent placement of the bell. To show their appreciation for the longtime support of their fellow citizens, the sisters gave the bell to the City of Liberty. They also agreed to allow the bell to be rung on other special occasions. A bell tower was constructed on the grounds of the Geraldine D. Humphreys Cultural Center, and the bell was installed there, where it hung for many years and was rung during the city's U.S. bicentennial celebration on July 4th, 1976. Some of the major research projects funded by the foundation during the 1950s and 60s were various projects at the University of Texas Medical Branch in Galveston, Baylor University College of Medicine in Houston, and Trinity University in San Antonio. One major project was the establishment of a muscular dystrophy research clinic at UTMB Galveston. Another, financing of a pilot study at Texas Institute for Rehabilitation and Research, TIRR, in Houston for portable respirators for MD patients. Sallie and Nadine Woods themselves made use of these respirators, which enabled them to leave their home for overnight trips. Financing a care center for TIRR for patients with muscular disorders. and providing needed medical equipment such as respirators, lifts, and wheelchairs for area MD patients. By the mid-1960s, the foundation reported that it had raised and disbursed more than $800,000 on behalf of the fight against muscular dystrophy. In 2024 dollars, that amounts to almost 7.8 million. Here we have a foundation brochure reporting on some of the research projects and a clipping about the UTMB Research Clinic. The Wood sisters were compelled to withdraw from active participation in the foundation in 1967 due to their declining health, but continued to take part in and provide their input on decisions as much as they were able. The foundation became less active, although for several more years it continued to provide funding for some research projects and assistance to MD patients. Nadine died in 1979 and Sallie died in 1984. Without their passion and inspiring leadership, the foundation's activities ceased. Its last president, Ben Rogers of Beaumont, deposited the foundation's remaining funds in an interest-bearing account at First Liberty National Bank in Liberty. In 1998, the foundation's two surviving former directors and the bank requested Liberty attorney Ed Pickett to petition the Liberty County District Court to impress the funds with a trust for the purposes that were set out in the foundation's original charter. They also sought to find an appropriate beneficiary or beneficiaries for those funds. By August 2001, it was decided to pay the funds, totaling $229,700.72 to the University of Texas at Austin's Institute for Cellular and Molecular Biology, specifically for study and research by Dr. Ellen Gottlieb into the causes and prevention of progressive muscular dystrophy. A check for the total amount of the funds was presented by Dr. Gottlieb at a meeting of the Liberty Rotary Club on September 11, 2001. Charles W. Fisher Jr., one of the former directors, observed that, quote, "The presentation of this check marks the conclusion of the noble efforts so gallantly pursued by Sallie and Nadine Woods during their lifetime. I think they would be pleased with this final effort dedicated to finding a cure for such a dread disease. It is truly the end of an era in Liberty, Texas, which began so many years ago." Unquote. As for the Liberty Bell replica, the bell tower that was constructed in the 1970s was dismantled in 2009 after it was discovered to be structurally unsound. The bell is currently displayed in the lobby of the Geraldine D. Humphreys Cultural Center, awaiting construction of a new bell tower. It remains an enduring symbol of the fight against muscular dystrophy that was begun over 70 years ago by two courageous young women in Liberty, Texas. Thank you.